Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Any Second Podcast. We here with episode 3. Y'all know who I'm rocking with. Okay, let's get into it. So, we gotta take it back. So a year ago, we gotta come from the top with you because you got so much stuff going on. So from the top. So about a year ago, you were caught on the Ring camera while you were married. You have a wife. You're caught on the Ring camera with your spend the night bag on. You had packed your pajamas, you packed your toothbrush, you packed your undies, and then we catch you walking into this woman's house while you have a wife. I do want to add that part. And you go get dressed, and then you jump on the couch and you snuggle up with this woman while you have a wife. I wanted to add that. So
keep emphasizing. Like, how many times you gonna tell me?
I just wanted to make sure we knew that.
That I heard you. Yeah, you keep emphasizing. Okay, you got 4 times. Okay.
Make sure. So, yes, there was a wife involved. So you are caught on the Ring camera with this woman at this house. Please explain yourself. What happened?
First of all, I'm deeply apologetic for the situation. You don't have to smirk. That makes it bad. Like, for me, like, I'm trying like no, dead. For I'm definitely not proud of those moments. That didn't exemplify any integrity whatsoever on my end. Now you want to know like what happened, like what led me to that vulnerability state?
Like what has to happen for a married man to find himself, at another woman's house, snuggled on the couch?
Well, this is the point, right? I could sit here and give you multiple scenarios, right? So let's just say the individual watching who I betrayed. Sorry, it doesn't matter what I say; it's not going to exemplify truth or reason for me doing it in their eyes, right? So once you get to that point where there's infidelity, it's more so almost like no turning back, right? And when you get caught for doing it, the person is not gonna really forgive you in whole. Yeah, so it really doesn't matter if I apologize, if I come up with, the reason for doing it. But, my truth is this. There was things that were going on that I wasn't happy with. And I'm not saying that that's, in essence, what drove me to do that. But I really didn't care at that point. There was things that I didn't feel were in alignment in my relationship. I felt like there was a lot of runoffs. There was a lot of moments where we're not in sync, and that wasn't the plan. The plan was to be in sync. I've been married twice. I believe in marriage. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't unfold the way that it should. I'm not proud of the moment. I definitely know that it was a slap in her face. It was extremely disrespectful. I know that she, was hurting inside from my actions. And truthfully, if I could go back and rewrite that time, I wouldn't have done it, because it wasn't even a long-lasting thing. What you see, people can speculate all day.
So, and I would like to add, there was screenshots of text messages as well that were stating that you said you wanted to have that woman's baby. Okay. So when you say it wasn't, it's not like, it wasn't this long, elaborate thing to have text messages wanting someone's child.
Yeah, well, so that's the thing, right? I'm not sure if you've done this before, but sometimes you joke around, you play. Like the individual never wanted to have kids, right? So I used to joke around and play with them. And again, I didn't know that my text messages were going to get leaked, things like that. That was more of an intimate situation, but it was more so play and just joking. There was a lot of things. There was a lot of things in there in those text messages that led to some questions that I had, in the home front. Oh, you did this for this person, or you that? No, I never did. So it wasn't an intention of having kids with the person. I get how it seems. It's terrible. There's nothing I can really say that could take it back, or there's nothing I can say that will, shed light on, oh, well, I didn't mean it that way, because what do they say? Perception is reality, right? So in that case, text messages is reality. You said it. I said it, right? I did say it. I didn't mean it. I wasn't trying to have a child with that person, or that wasn't even my intentions. By no means, I'm not trying to have any kids. So I shouldn't have said it. But then again, I probably should have been more mature about the situation and spoke to Shireen like, hey, look, this is how I'm feeling at the moment. But then again, it probably wouldn't have gotten anywhere, right? Because we're already, feuding, and by me saying, hey, look, I'm to the brinks of about to cheat, or this is what I'm thinking. That probably would have went in one ear and out the other, right? But who takes that serious? But yeah, it was really bad, really bad. I felt bad about it. When you're going through it, I just felt I was being disrespected on the home front. The things that I've sacrificed since I've been home, while being in prison, coming home from prison, just the things that I went through, the things that I've done for my family. I just felt like there was not enough appreciation. I feel like it was a lot of mockery, a lot of things that were said out of her mouth. Women have like a vicious, vicious tongue. And there are certain things, again, it goes back to what I was saying previously about not letting someone short you of your long comings, not your shortcomings, like the things that you've overcome in life. I've been through hell and back, and I'm going to keep fighting. I'm going to keep pushing forward. I'm not going to let someone sit there and make a mockery out of it and think that there's going to be no repercussion. I think that I'm just going to be okay with it. Life was, there was a lot of challenges too. And to sum it up, my challenges, it's difficult when you you do 5.5 years in prison, you come home, you still owe $2 million in restitution. They want their money. You can't have a bank account. You can't have credit. You can't have a car in your name. You can't do nothing. I'm confined to, to the metro Atlanta area. Can't travel. They want to take 50% of your pay. So, granted, I put myself in them circumstances, but there's still a lot that an individual goes through mentally, psychologically. And then if you're fighting with society, you're fighting at the home front, it's just a lot, man. It was a lot. And, I just, being weak, I guess, just, jumping out there and I found solace somewhere else versus from the house.
Some short-term pleasure to kind of distract you a little bit from all the nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that you own up that it's a weak moment. I see how a lot of that in-house stuff can cause a lot of the tension, the separation, divide each other. You're not really being that intimate anymore, and a lot of days like that can already make you feel distant in itself. So, okay,
I get the effort mentality quick. Like me, I'm the type where I can show you better than I could tell you. Mm. If you want to say X, Y, Z or do whatever you want to do, okay, cool. But now, go ahead.
No, go ahead. What are you saying?
I mean, and there's also repercussions behind the things that you do. I mean, I didn't just get a little, why'd you do that? A lot came with it.
And that's what I was about to ask. Okay, so boom, all of that happens. It goes public. It goes viral. You on this lady's couch.
It's bad.
Yeah, it's all bad. Talking crazy.
Even Phaedra called me.
Oh no, that's bad.
It's bad.
Yeah. You caught smoke from it, or what did she say?
Nah, like, yo, you okay? What's going on? You alive over there? Like, you got your head knocked off. Like, yeah, a lot of people called me. Like, because mind you, remember, I was off social media for like 2 years. So I didn't even know what was going on. So, yeah. So I'm catching these phone calls and I'm oblivious. But then once I seen it, oh, man, that's bad.
Real bad. And it's funny, right? Because I was chilling, minding my business, and Big Mike calls me. And he's like, oh, it's all bad, man. I'm like, what happened? He's like, they got him. they got him good. And I'm like, yo, what happened? He's like, I'm going to send you the link. He's on the Ring camera with another woman. It's all bad. And I'm like, oh, nah. I'm like, they'll say, this is what's going through my mind. I'm like, dude, if I open this link and this man got his cheeks out, oiled up, busting a move, I don't know, brother. I might have to disown you. Like, if anything, you better be making me proud. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like, I don't want to open this link. I'm like, nah, I ain't trying to see this. But I open it and I'm like, terrible. Nonetheless, it was all bad, but it could have been worse. But it was pretty.
But you know, there was nothing. There was a hug. There was no kiss. It was nothing.
No, it was a hug, and there was no kissing, and y'all cuddled on the couch.
The cuddling part.
The cuddling hurt the worst, probably because it looked really comfortable. You know, you had your fuzzy pink socks on, like those are your favorite socks, and like you look like you was at home. Like I was like, damn. So that was bad. But nah. So what was the conversation like between you and her after that? You go public, it goes viral. What did she say to you? Like, what's that conversation like?
Oh, it's really cold and dry. The slap in the face, I think she had her sister was in town. They were out and about, and you know, it's gonna go viral, right? I mean, it did go viral, and next thing you know, that was like a slap in the face for her. So it was really no conversation, like cold. And then it wasn't until like after her sister left that, you know, she started like, you know, being vocal about it. But you want to know what it was like. It was what it was like. I mean, she just dished it out the same way that I dished it out. Right? Because I get a call on that Sunday that she's out and about at this club. And mind you, we're about to bring Ramadan in. And so I'm expecting, I'm like, okay, I'm praying about it. I'm like, all right, if we could probably get through this, because we're about to go 30 days on this fast, right? You get closer to God and everything. And we do the Ramadan together. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to be able to, you know, right my wrong here. I'm going to be able to, you know, get through this. So the day we're supposed to bring Ramadan in, I get a call like, hey, man, your wife's over here, you know, in somebody's section, you know, having a good old time, her and her friends. You might want to get over here. I'm like, whatever. And then, mind you, this was all day. And when she left the house, you know, she was, you know, looking real nice and so forth. And I'm just like, yo, where you going? Oh, none of your business. Go worry about that girl you was with, you know, all that type of thing. All right, cool, whatever. So we're way into the night, 10 o'clock. So I pull up to the place. Now I'm outside and I wait. And I'm kind of like, I call her. What you doing? Oh, I ain't doing nothing. I say, you drinking? Are you drinking? You know, Ramadan's about to come in. What are you doing? Oh, I'm not drinking. Don't worry about me. So I'm thinking maybe, you know, it's 10. She's going to come out in 30 minutes, maybe an hour. Man, she didn't come out of there till 2 a.m. And the thing is, right, I'm sitting here waiting, and then 2 a.m. comes out, and she's coming out with a dude holding his hand. The next thing you know, they get by the car. You know, he's groping on her. They kiss. And I'm like, I'm pretty devastated, right? But I don't jump out of the car. I don't act, you know, erratic. I'm just like, okay, I can't, you know, I'm not one of those guys where if I do something and I cheat, I'm not one of, oh my God, I can't believe she did that. You know, and I'm just devastated, right? I'm not astonished by.
Yeah, you got to be able to take
You
that.
got to take it on the chin, right? So it's a tough pill to swallow. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, dang, man, this dude is on my girl. Now I'm thinking about other things. Most women who either cheat or most women who identify with another man when they're in a relationship, 9 times out of 10, they've been having interaction with this person. They feel comfortable. It's very seldom that a woman goes out that night and just finds a random guy and they're that comfortable in public in a parking lot, you know? So I was like, okay, maybe this is something that's been in the works. Maybe it's like, okay, maybe it was in the works, they've been cool, and this is the perfect opportunity to say, okay, I don't care. You know, eye for an eye, right? So I tell myself, I'm like, man, you know what? Just be cool, man. So I filmed it. I'm like, just be cool. Don't spaz out. It's almost like something inside me. I kept trying to jump out of the car.
It sounds like, whoa.
And then I pull myself back in, and I'm like, man, fuck. And I was like, you know what? Go home. Just go home, man. You've seen enough. Go home. And my whole drive home, I'm having a talk with myself, and I'm like, listen, just ask her to leave for the night. Just tell her to pack her stuff and just go. So I'm sitting there, I get home maybe like 10, 15 minutes. I'm sitting at the table, I'm having this pep talk with myself, like, all right, just be cool, man. Don't get loud. Just be chill. You got this. She comes in the house and she walks in and she's like, what the F are you looking at? I'm like, oh, I was like, man, listen, I think it's best that you pack your stuff. I tried it. I said, I think it's best you pack your stuff for the night and go back to where you were at. You need to pack your stuff. You need to get up out of here, da da da, right? So I'm like, listen, man, I think you should go. And I ain't going nowhere. I said, no, go back and be with the dude you was with. She was like, well, I wasn't with nobody. So I showed her the video, and she's like, oh, well, matter of fact, I'm going to go back and be with him. And then next thing you know, I try to take the phone, and it just went sideways from there. Next thing you know, she called 911.
Yeah, and that was what I'm gonna get into. So, yes, March 2024. Boom, you get in trouble for domestic violence. You actually got to go to jail.
Yeah.
For domestic violence. And I was gonna ask, but you brought it full circle. I was gonna say, like, was the Ring camera incident what led to the domestic violence situation? But I see that you're saying more so cause and effect. Her being with that other man after you was on the Ring camera is what led to that night that y'all were arguing. So you're saying you came home, you telling her to pack your bags, and this is the moment of the domestic violence situation. So boom, you're arguing over the phone, and then what happens?
Yeah, just an argument over the phone. Then, Shireen and I has been through a lot. We have been through a lot of things, right? She's never been the type of person to call the police. That's just not in her nature, right? So you say, okay, well, it's not in her nature, then what probed her to do that? Well, her sister, I think, has been like the nucleus to this acting different type person, right? So I remember I was in the house when her sister was was visiting us, and we get into a verbal altercation from across the room, and the first thing she yells out is, "I'll call the police on you," as if like holding that over my head because I was on probation still, right? And she was using that as like the puppet thing, right? So she would keep dangling that over my head. So I realized, like, okay, well, if I was you, I'd just call the police. Anytime he does X, Y, Z, just threaten him with the law, that type of thing. That's what I felt. And then you got alcohols involved, and I felt like when all that happened, the first instinct was, let me call the police. I think it was a thing, like, how subconsciously someone tells you so many times, do this, do this, do this. If you're ever in a situation, do this, do this, right? So that's what I think happened. So I found myself, I left. I went to the other house. I'm looking at the Ring camera, and I'm seeing, APD there. They leave. I call my mom, and I'm just like, look, you might have to come bail me out. I don't know what's going on here, but the police there. She's like, well, listen, one thing about it, you ain't never ran from the police, so don't start now. If you didn't do anything, I'll go back, tell your side of the story, and just try to hash it out. So I hit the guy up he was walking out, the officer. I call him back on the Ring camera. He comes by, we spoke. I said, I'll be there in a second. So when I get over there, as soon as I start trying to tell him whatever, he's like, put your hands behind your back, throws me in the car. I'm like, come on. You didn't even let me.
No explanation.
Nothing. So then, Shireen, I guess she starts seeing that this is escalating a lot further than what she thought. So she asked for the supervisor and was like, hey, it's not warranted. Don't lock him up. Blah, blah, blah. And at this point, I'm like, man, my freedom's at stake. I done let this woman trick me, or I done trick myself, whatever you might call it, into potentially violating probation. And so I'm like, man, this is wild. So they say, in the state of Georgia, there's a lot of domestic situations that happen, and someone has to go to jail. Because back when, you got these laws like, crime of passion and stuff like that, individuals might just spaz out. They might let both parties go. Somebody will come back and something bad happens. But if someone would have went to jail and been separated for 24 hours or longer, then it gives some separation that can, mitigate the situation. But yeah, so that happened, and I found myself incarcerated on basically violating probation.
Now, how long did you have to stay in there?
24 hours.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay, not bad.
Yeah, 24 hours, and I was.
Now, when you come home, right? Who picked you up, and two, when you got to the house, what was y'all's conversation?
Yeah, so it was she wasn't even taking my call when I was in there. Like, I tried to call or whatnot, she wasn't taking my call. My mom was there, and no one picked me up, so I bonded out. They gave me like a reconnaissance bond. They let me sign myself out. they let me go. It was probably like, I don't know, 1 a.m. the next morning, 24 hours later. And shoot, I walked from Fulton County Jail. I was good. I got up out of there, and I had a buddy of mine come pick me up once I got like downtown and take me home. So once I walked in the house, Mom was there. She was there. As soon as I walked in, boom, we just go at it, start arguing, stuff like that, and it was all bad. It was all bad. Now I'm like
Again?
Again.
You just got to the house. What time was it? Because you walked, had somebody scoop you up.
Maybe 2 a.m.
Oh, so it's the middle of the night.
Yeah, exactly.
Dang.
Just started.
Okay, cool. So y'all getting that again? What's going on? What's being said?
Just all kind of wild stuff, man. Like unfathomable things. Like women have a sharp tongue, man. She definitely has a tongue. I don't know who taught her that language, but super foul. And then it's bad that my mom has to hear it. Then she's like, "Y'all both quit. I'm not gonna tolerate this. Both of y'all, y'all wrong." Then my mom's trying to tell me like, I'm wrong for that. It's nothing like a woman scorn. Like I gotta take it. She's like, you just gotta take it on the chin. You did it. You just gotta eat it. That type of thing. So. Again, I was just like, I'm the type of I just don't want to be talked to wild like that, right? So I'm just like, you know what, man, F it. I really don't care. So then I realized now things are getting intense. So now it's like this violation of probation thing hanging over my head. Then these people want to put you on probation again, the pretrial people. I'm like, nah, I can't do all this. This night. I can't go down this road again.
And when you said the pre-trial, they wanted to run it from the top.
Yeah.
Like you was like, let's say you have 5 years, you down to 4.5. Nope, from the top. Like,
No. So no, it's a whole new charge. So you gotta first figure out if you're actually going to violate your current situation and what they're gonna do. Totally separate. One's federal. So I'm on. I was in the feds. So you got the federal situation, and then here it is. This is like misdemeanor state. So you just got to kind of like see what they want to do as well.
But you didn't have to do with that though.
No, so the outcome, so nothing happened. Luckily, they put me in some anger management classes, some domestic violence programs, community service, things like that. And they just kind of let me serve out the duration of my time. Because I didn't have much, I didn't only have like 5 or 6 months left. So they let me, finish that out. I successfully completed all that. And yeah.
Okay, so whenever you find yourself, like you just got out of prison, you just got out, you know what I'm saying?
2019.
You trying to get your feet back on the ground. You trying to stack some good years underneath you.
Yeah.
And then here we are again. We in trouble again. You know what I'm saying? You're in the slammer again, and you're facing this time, which is probably some difficulties you didn't expect. You didn't. Not from a woman, you know what I mean?
Never. I've never been in that situation.
So your relationship causes you to end up in jail even again. And like I said, you're trying to stack your good years, stack your good days, and we take another slip. What are you feeling emotionally, and what's that conversation like with yourself? And you're like, I would imagine you probably like, damn, one, how? And two, can this stop? Like, can I please get away from these situations? So what's that internal conversation you have with yourself?
Yeah, so before that happened, maybe like 2 weeks before that, I just had a conversation with my boy, and he was like, look, you cannot let this woman get under your skin and get the best of you and potentially cause you to violate your probation. Like, you've already come this far and you're about to, have this terminated, so don't do it. And then when it happened, I was like, fuck, there's no way. How did I do this? How did I fall victim to this? There's no way. You just talked to yourself about this. And now I'm sitting here in this cell, and I'm just like, this could be really detrimental. Like, these people now, to your point, they could just say, you know what, I'm going to run it back all the way on the federal side. And you never know, right? So you got like a Class C violation, which could carry, like, I don't know, 18 to 24 months. And here it is, like you said, I'm trying to get my good years underneath me, trying to get some momentum going. So I'm pissed at myself. Not just from the incident, the ring camera, I'm just, how did I get that? How did I allow that situation when I just had a pep talk to just escalate to something where someone could call the police on me? And then whether it be fabrication or whether, truthful, whatever it may be, just to put me in a situation like that, right? it was bad.
Yeah, that makes sense. So definitely a lot of self-reflecting gotta happen. And after all of that, when you get in these situations, what is your take on domestic violence?
Oh, I don't condone it. Like I'm never been one. I'm not, to be abusive towards a woman. I don't think anybody should put their hands on a female or anything like that. My situation was a little different. I mean, anytime you can have a verbal altercation, and then they call the police on you. It's DV, domestic violence. So there's still elements to the case. I mean, it's not like no bloodbath, nothing crazy like that happened, but I don't condone it. That's not cool. It's not cool for a man to put his hands on a woman. I think it's good to try to talk about it or just leave. You don't have to deal with it. Just leave for a little while, digress, come back, talk about it at some point if you can, especially if you can get on like some type of common ground. But yeah, I don't condone that. That's not cool, man. I don't like to see anybody getting abused or anything like that. I'm not for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure like long-term relationship, everything, everybody's had their moments. Again, I don't condone it. Some people, keep it behind closed doors and don't let people uh, in their personal space like that. And then sometimes it's publicized where the police are called, and you know, some people are public figures, and then they take things out of proportion, and everybody wants to be in your business. And you can have Joe Schmo and his woman on the street get into an altercation, and it doesn't matter.
I will say that's one thing that bothers me now that I'm able to kind of see a little bit from a different perspective, like these type of comments and people's opinions, since you're in the light and everything like that. One thing that bothers me is how are you going to sit here and comment on somebody's business? The only reason your stuff is publicized is because you're a public figure, but it's so hypocritical, like when you read comments and people are like, oh, this man's dirty, foul. Don't get me wrong, domestic violence is terrible. There's no space for that for any party, but at the same time, to be so quick to judge, I truly believe it. We can say it right now. You know how 80%, 85%, maybe 95% of America right now is having a drag out argument over Papa John's pizza. This is relationships. You know what I'm saying? You're going to cuss, you're going to scream, and you're going to do all these things. And like you said, behind closed doors, I guarantee somebody done snatched their wife up a couple times this week. You know what I mean?
Well, I got a one for you that people fail to realize, right? Is that there is you always hear about the male who is being violent towards the woman. Do you know how many cases that are not talked about? Do you know how many times, for example, it's okay for the woman I'm just saying it's all right for the woman to call foul play, call the police on the man for assaulting her, right? But how many times does a woman put their hands on a man and nothing happens? The man has to just take it on the chin. But now if the man sits here and he doesn't want to be abused and he gets slapped by the woman or spit in the face or punched in the mouth or whatever, and if he calls 911, now he's a chump. He's looked at like a sucker, right? But why is that? So is it okay for the woman to be abusive? Is it okay for her to have aggression and to take it out on the man based on some things that has happened in her past? And there's a lot of cases out there, a lot of situations where there's been men who are abused day in, day out, and they just take it on the chin every day, and it's just the norm. And they don't hit the woman back when she thinks that's okay. And then not only that, she's displaying that for, the children to see or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So.
No, now that right there is a critical point. That's the most important point of this whole conversation. The flip side for men, when you are being abused, there's no stance you can take. And if you do take a stance, you soft. The cops gonna pull up to the door and they not even gonna listen to you. They gonna be like, what happened? You called for what? Yo, she put her hands on me, blah, blah. Did he hit you though? He gonna ask the woman, right. Ma'am, excuse me, sir, ma'am, did he hit you? Like, no, man, I called, she hit me. Y'all have a blessed night.
Exactly.
Even the authorities aren't gonna take that serious, and that's definitely got to switch. I don't know where you would start with switching that, but that's a fact. That's got to switch.
It happens a lot.
More often than people really realize. So, yeah, that's a good point that you make right there. Now, when you're having these situations with your relationship, right? You talk about the Ring camera snowballing into the fact of, it gets cold in the house, and now she decides to take a stance from a hurt perspective, and you got to catch a straight bullet, and now you're hurt too. She decides to go spend some time with another man, which more so is digging a deeper hole, which is okay because she's hurt, and that's what comes with these repercussions. But you're cheating, now she's seeing another man, now you got the domestic violence. And is there ever a time in relationships where is there such thing as too much damage to where the individual is not going to be able to recover, and that the relationship is not going to be able to recover? It's just too much damage. Even when you try, you have your conversations, you do your apology moves, and it still just seems like it's just not enough. Is there such thing as that?
Well, it's based on the individual, right? Me personally, I'm cut from a different cloth, right? I don't give up. I don't give up on my, on my people, on, I love what I love, and I love hard. And I've just never been that person to say, you know what, I'm done with you, right? Now, because I think I look back at what's happened over time, the fact that all the things that I've been through, and then I look at it and say, okay, in time, this is going to filter out. It's going to run its course, and we're going to get on smooth ground. That was my whole premonition from day one. Even though I know that shit is rocky and things aren't going right, but it never once where I was like, you know what, I'm just going to give up and throw in the towel. I'm like, it's going to get right. It's got to get right. Because we've had great times before, great days. We've had awesome days. And here it is now, we're getting hit back to back to back to back. Like a tsunami of just terrible stuff happening in the relationship. So I just really was like just taking it on the chin, like, okay, this is going to rectify itself at some point.
And for you, as a man, I want to ask you, right, what's your method for the cleanup and for the apology? Like, you did your thing. You caused a lot of hurt. You caused a lot of damage. So when you sit down and you regroup and you meditate and you say, okay, I want to fix my relationship, what's your game plan? What's your blueprint? What's that look like for you?
Well, I never fully said, like, hey, I want to fix this relationship. I asked, like, hey, will this thing ever be fixed? But I never really sat down and said, I want to fix this situation, right? Because I can't fix the situation alone. There's a list, right? You're going to go down the list. And let's just say everything about me, you have to, like, take a sheet of paper, put a line down the middle, right? And all of the shortcomings, all my faults and all their faults, right? You still have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, okay, I have to hold myself accountable because I did X, Y, Z. Now, you can't be the only person in that relationship that's taking accountability for what you've done, how I made you feel, but then on the other side, the person is not holding themselves accountable and saying, you know what, it's jacked up. I made you feel that way too. Because it takes two, right? So I could sit here and talk about numerous things, right, to where what led me to being how I was or whatnot, because again, like I say, in relationships, nobody wants to be at fault. Nobody wants to take accountability and be the bigger person and say, you know what, I caused this. I played a part. You didn't do it by yourself. But then someone will say, oh, action for reaction. Yeah, but there's an origin to it. See, there's an origin. So you're telling me I just went out here just on a everything's peachy. It's perfect. My life is perfect. And I just went out here and went to this lady's house with my book bag and my pink socks. You know what I'm saying? Like, so,
my favorite socks.
Yeah. So like, it doesn't work that way. There's something that probed, and then it goes. It's layer for layer. Well, you did this because I did this. I did this because you did that. There has to be some type of stopping point and eradicate. And I think I was telling you this before. In order to move forward in relationships when there's been so many tumultuous things happening, you have to sit back and say, you know what? That saying you can forgive but you won't forget, you have to forget. You have to chalk it up. You have to push for it and say, you know what? I'm done with it. It never happened. So you have to take the whole Jesus approach. When Jesus was with his disciples and he transcended, you have to be able to transcend out of this state of being and say, you know what? I'm going to act like it never happened and just start fresh. And now if you do it again, then now we have a different problem, right? But given that fair shake, and I don't think you can't give the fair shake always bringing it up. Because even I asked after that, I said, well, look, how long are we gonna keep bringing this up, day after day after day? When are we gonna let this go? How often are you gonna bring this up? I gotta hear about it all the time. Every time you get mad. Now remember, I tell you the arguments. It's not just because they put pepperoni on the pizza and you don't eat pork, right? And you didn't open the box to check because you ordered 2 large cheese pizzas and you was expecting that's what it is. And so you're not mad because of that. It's all of the other stuff. It's the pile up. This is just, one of the ripple effect.
Mm-hmm. And that's hard. That's critical. How you feel about couples therapy? You think that is one of those things like, because when we start overlapping each other and it becomes, oh, you cheated. And it's like, well, hold on real quick. True, I did cheat. But also, I didn't appreciate how you might have been handling me and talking to me. That's what created this distance. And it's hard because it's a lot of overlap. She don't feel seen. And then maybe part of you is like, yo, you're not understanding me. What's your take on couples therapy? Do you think that it's beneficial when it gets into sticky situations like that, when there's a whole lot of emotions involved?
I think couples therapy is a great thing. Both people have to. So I've been in couples therapy. I've been not post, I would say like premarital counseling and so forth, right? And there's a lot of things that never come about that's very critical, such as, if people have children, or, what's the dynamics going to be like if you're going to be a stepdad, or what's the dynamics going to be like if you're going to be a stepmom, how is the child going to perceive you, and I'm sure we can expound on that as well. So I'm definitely for it, but the parameters and the curriculum needs to be written specifically for the 2 individuals that are there, not just generalized. See, when you open up that textbook, let's just say you're doing, arithmetic and it's, 2 plus 2, right? It's standard, right? But we need to get a little deeper into the crevice and kind of peel this back and say, okay, what are the things that do some homework, right? So, hey, we're going to sit you guys down, talk to you guys. What is some things that you can think of that might arose that you could potentially see a future problems? And or people shouldn't necessarily just jump straight into it. They should maybe just spend some time together, get a chance to know one another a little bit, not outside. We're talking about in the house, dwelling together and seeing the ebb and flow. You might be the type of person that comes in. I might be OCD, right? Might want shoes in alignment, want things, a situation. You come in, you just kick your shoes off. Hey, that's a deal breaker for me. You might leave the seat up. I don't want the seat up. You might have toothpaste everywhere. And who knows what causes problems, right? So got to peel back those layers. But I'm definitely for, I do think that counseling is good, but remember this part. I didn't seek counseling, in our relationship because I felt like this. You're an adult. Trey's an adult. When you look in that mirror, what you're supposed to do as a young man or as a man and how you're supposed to conduct yourself. You don't need some stranger to tell you how you're supposed to be acting. You already know. So if you're telling me that I'm going to go sit down with an individual and he's going to tell me what I already know, it doesn't matter. Because if I don't want to apply the knowledge that one, I already know, and or what he's telling me, reassuring me, it's never going to work. It doesn't matter. You can spend all the money you want. So if it's not applicable, it doesn't matter. So you have to be willing to apply. But the first thing you should look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm going to make a change for me, for the betterment of me. I have a certain decorum, a certain way of living, and this is how I want to be perceived. You're going to do the right thing or the wrong thing. If you're going to do the wrong thing, hey, just don't get into a relationship. Just be single and chill. Let the person know the expectations and call it a day.
Now that part I agree with when it comes to you don't need that median. And something that I completely disagree with is the quick response to, oh, therapy. We need therapy. Because this is what frustrates me. It's not it's not that you don't need the extra median. It's not that therapy is not great. I think it's incredible and it can help you elevate to many ways. But also, we still need to be able to communicate. You know what I'm saying? There can't always be a third party. Because you even mentioned a minute ago, when you bring in third parties and you always lean on third parties, you taking in the wrong third party. Now you're talking to your homegirl who's got 14 baby daddies, ain't never had a successful relationship, and you lean on them, it's like, oh, we need to talk to somebody. So I agree with that too when it comes to you still need to sit down and analyze each other and be like, as a unit, we need to still be able to successfully communicate without always having this outside support, because then it looks strange. It's like, damn, you always need somebody to talk. You can't come to one agreement without sitting down with Pastor JoJo. Like, you know what I'm saying? No way. Like, we're better than that. You know,
and now everybody's in your business. They know everything about you. Everything. There's no secrecy. There's no alliance.
Yeah. So when you talk about that, you talk about owning that up, like, you know, owning up to it, looking in the mirror and understanding, like, I need to be better right here because this is the type of man I want to be. For you personally, what are some things that you've looked in the mirror and you said, okay, I absolutely need to change this to be better for my relationships or relationship, either one?
When you're in a fight, right? A lot of times people go into the fight head on, going into the fight. If you ever look at professional fighters, right? The fight is not, you don't start the fight going front. You start the fight by taking a step back, analyzing, assessing your opponent, what's going on, right? I said that to say that while in the midst of it, I was just going forward the whole time. I didn't analyze anything. It wasn't until a lot of this stuff has hit the fan where I'm actually sitting back now like, okay, man, you have a problem with a couple things, right? Trying to take accountability for some things, such as being more patient. There's a lot of things that I was dealing with a delicate, one, Shireen was very, one, she didn't deserve, what I did, number one. So I had to take accountability for that. Number two, she's a delicate person. She's not like this hard exterior person. Now she can be, right? But I don't think I cultivated the relationship the way that I should have. Meaning, I know what I'm dealing with, but it's almost like, oh, fuck it. I'm just going to have this hard exterior and just keep running at a fast pace and not sitting here making sure, hey, you okay? Hey, this is what's going on. Communication, the sweet things, being more sensitive. So there's a lot of things that characteristics, and I learned something from you, when it comes to like, spending time with our elders and stuff like that and so forth, or just taking the time out, because it's not going to kill us, right? We're still young. You take that time out, be more empathetic, and just devote that 2-3 hours, or just that, giving that person that little bit of sympathy. It goes a long ways, right? And I wasn't really doing that, because when I came home, my whole thing was hit the ground running, try to get the family on the fast track, get everybody situated, and just be the man, and just try to take care of everything, right? And by doing that, there was a lot of things that fell to the wayside, such as that sensitivity, such as that companion, that compassion, the companionship, the reassurance, everything's gonna be okay. So to answer your question, yeah, I've looked in the mirror and I've dissected a lot of things that I could have done different, just knowing better, but it didn't happen that way, and it was, and that's the thing. So when, I won't say anybody but me, just the way I was raised, growing up without mother and father and so forth, just like getting it how I get it, just off the land. You don't have time to be sensitive. I grew up super, self-sufficient and desensitized, and especially when you put back there You're back there with the gorillas and the wolves and all that stuff, man. You can't. There's no time to be soft. You better man up. Dead ass. Like, I can't sit here. Oh, it's birthday. Oh, it's Valentine. Oh, Christmas, and cry. And no, 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 no. It is. Hey, okay, cool. Love you, man. Hold your head up. All right, talk to you later. Go back to it. You got to get back into reality because that's my reality. I'm sitting here living in a concrete jungle. You know, steel and concrete. That's all that's in the penitentiary. So it definitely has hardened me and desensitized me over the time. You got to think I've given a lot of time to the penitentiary, man. And I'm not proud of it, but you learn from it, and it makes you a stronger person and really wise at the same token. One of my transgressions is the fact that, and I'm a forward thinker, right? But my biggest problem was I'm sitting here thinking about, I'm thinking about you, I'm thinking about Lay, I'm thinking about her, I'm thinking about everybody, Mike, I'm thinking about everybody, Aiden, Dylan, I'm thinking about everything, and I'm looking at my trajectory is way out there. My problem is I never just looked down right in front of me and said, damn, I got all this right here. I kind of looked over all that, and I negated all of the facets of life that's going to be right in front of me. The hugs, the kisses, the loves, the sitting down as a family, the communication. Hey, what is your job description? What's my job description? What do you require from me? What I require? So yeah, to answer your question, man, yeah, there's a lot of things that I didn't take into consideration because life was just moving. You got to think I came out paying bills from day one. Didn't even have a chance to breathe. So it's like, man, it's tough, man. It gets tough for sure. And so, that's the thing. I personally look myself in the mirror. I tell God, I ask God every day to forgive me. If I can forgive myself and God can forgive me, there's only one person I need to get forgiveness from is God, right? If she don't want to forgive me for what I've done, hey, I got to forgive myself. I cannot stay hung up on the fact that, oh, this person won't forgive me. Oh my God. No, I'm not going to die. I'm going to keep moving forward, and I got to still be great. I still got to be a father to you, be a role model for you with your brothers and all that stuff. I still have to move forward.
So, as a father, and when you really sit back and you think about it, where might you see that you could be a better representation for your younger sons, Aiden and Dylan, when it comes to your relationships at the pace that you're going right now?
Oh, good question. Well, I haven't really put a lot of thought into that because I thought by leading by example of getting married, outside of the situation with you, but, wait until you're married to have children and things like that. I thought that was leading by example. The things that happens in relationships, I mean, things happen, right? So I don't feel like it's like, oh, you're not setting a good example because you get caught on the Ring camera, right? I wasn't really looking at it from that perspective. I could be wrong because in life, what I do, you're older, but when I do sit down with, Aiden, not necessarily with Dylan, but sit down and talk to him, I just explain to him, things that happen, where I fall short, when maybe he's like, oh, you should do this. Well, I'm like, well, no, I have to take accountability for the things that I have done. So the way that I lead by example is sitting them down, talking to them, letting them know my shortcomings and what I could have done different. So you can't just always point the finger per se. So even when we talk, right, I tell you like, look, man, I could have done this differently, or if I could go back and do X, Y, Z differently. That's the only way that I can really see myself like leading by example is just by trying to take accountability for my shortcomings and for the things that I've done that could potentially, or things that I could have done better that could have led to a different outcome. So that's it. I don't really see now. I would say, I do feel like, if things are going well in a relationship, I don't feel like you should just run out there just because you see something that sparks your interest. You should just say, hey, I'm just going to jump ship and you're just going to risk everything, that y'all have just sacrificed all the years and the time that you put into it. And having that open line of communication, I think that's important. That's something that we fell short in, like Shireen and I fell short in. And the thing about it is we talked about, hey, if things are not going right or if you feel a certain way, we need to come back to the drawing board and speak about it. But that never happened.
No, that makes sense. Now, okay, let's just say you could fast forward in time, right? And you fast forward in time, and I'm gonna use myself for example. Aiden's now 32 years old, doing this thing, ripping and running. And no, he's cool. He's married and all these things, and he's doing the things that you've seen yourself be doing lately. But you're on the other side of the phone. And you're seeing your son in this type of situation. Yeah, getting caught on the ring camera and all these scandals and these situations. What would you tell him if you were from the outside looking in?
It's not funny, but I hope that's not the case. But let's see. Well, you can't say, don't do as I do, as I've done, right? Because that's been me. I would say, um, yeah, to be, one, what are you doing, right?
That's what you say. You say, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, what are you doing, right? And are you willing, your actions, right? Think about your actions before you do it. Are you willing to risk it all? Because some women in relationships, that might be that is the straw that breaks the camel's back. Some women just don't want to get with infidelity. Some women can look past it, right? Some women, can deal with other things than others can't, right? So are you willing to risk it all because you don't know what that breaking point is with your spouse per se? So I would definitely tell them, you need to definitely reevaluate the decisions that you make because it could be a slippery slope, because that's the thing too. So also in relationships, a lot of times if a man and a woman or a woman gets away with it, you will do it again. Or if you're forgiven, are you truly seeking that apology for the premise of I'm sorry and I'm glad you forgave me and I won't do it again? Or is it like, okay, yeah, she forgave me, I can get over this hurdle, but then come 2, 3, 4 months later, I'm gonna do it again, right? So you gotta kind of watch that too.
And I think you had to be honest with yourself at that point. You gotta dissect what type of man am I. Yeah, and no one's gonna know. That's behind closed doors. You're never gonna sit your person down and be like, "I'm gonna keep doing it." You never say that. It's more so like, "I'm sorry," but really internally, you do gotta kind of process that. Like, am I the type of person that's maybe you did something, I did something, so boom, something happened. Maybe we were arguing, maybe whatever. We lose connection. Then I cheat. Okay, cool. We can tighten up, and I'm not gonna do that again. Just made a mistake. Was in a bad spot. Or am I just weak? Undisciplined, and I'm out and about enjoying myself. Like you said, I see something I like, and you're not around, so I do what I do, and I hope I don't say nothing, and hopefully I don't get caught. So yeah, that's important to think about. And for yourself, you did mention that you're trying to be disciplined and things like that. Which one are you when it comes to that?
I mean, well, I was gonna say something first, and I'll answer that. But some people are not just one like a man, one woman guy, or one man woman. You know what I'm saying? Uh, so I think for me, I went into it with all great intentions, thinking that everything is gonna be, this is my person, and we're gonna be able to rock out. And despite what goes on, we got our ups and downs, and we're gonna be able to work through it effectively, laugh, joke, travel, have a good time. But then it seems like when the fight started coming, not when I was in prison, not that type of fight, but it's like once I was in society and life starts moving and obstacles getting thrown at us, I feel like that's when the real testament started coming. And I feel like we weren't able to effectively work through that. Therefore, you get the slander, you get the disrespect, and on both ends, right? And then that's when some people, such as myself, just like fuck it, throw in the towel, but not throwing in the towel, not verbalizing and saying, you know what, I'm done with this. It's more so my actions are sloppy, don't care, don't not taking the other person's feelings into consideration. And so, yeah, if I could go back and do it again, I would probably, I would communicate more, because think about it, once you're with that person and you just get off, then it's
over with.
Yeah, but then that one get off is just pretty much you done sacrifice and risked it all, you know. So it's like, why not just like channel that energy or something somewhere else, and or just be like, look, this ain't working. I need a break. I don't know. You know, relationships are tricky, man. You got people that's been married, 30, 40, 50 years, out here going through the struggle and still hanging on. And then some people hang on because they don't, there's like two motivating factors of life, fear of loss and one of gain. These people sometimes are just hanging on just to hang on because they don't want to be alone and are the norm. They're comfortable. I don't want to be that.
Yeah, now that part I agree with. Definitely, you don't want to stay in a situation just because you're comfortable. You always got to set boundaries and have a certain expectation that you want to live by and follow through. And then you talk about motivating factors too. It could be finances on why people don't want to split, because, a lot of people do things together and it's like, okay, if you leave, I got to figure this out. And it's like, maybe we should just thug it out, stay together and push through that. And then you have, like you said, fear of loss. Some people don't like being alone in general, so they don't really have the backbone to, even if they're upset, they know they shouldn't tolerate these things, but then it's like, I don't want to be by myself, they don't like being by themselves like that. So yeah, those are all things to take into consideration. So yeah, that was good. So yeah, that's a good conversation. Appreciate you popping in. Good talk. But all right, guys, we're gonna catch you on the next episode. Stay tuned. In the meantime, y'all stay up and go be great.